Today I decided to play Gateway to Shangri-La by Willy W. Boom compatible, it's a second map, it's a slaughter map, and it only uses the infamous fireblu texture and some variants. So, I can't really make a recording of this any other way. I've just got to talk over it because any attempt at re-encoding it will lead to video encoders crying, for reasons which may be clear while watching this. Fireblu is rather notorious because it's just red and blue in a noisy pattern which encoders don't like. So here's the initial fight. As you can see, it's relatively straightforward. Constrained, just doing a bit of shotgun work. Taking damage here is not a big issue, there's plenty of little health picks. You get plenty in the next area as well. So, first call of business is to get the rocket launcher, which is in this little arena down here. You get a backpack as well, which is nice. And there's a secret inside a fireblue waterfall, oh boy, where you can get yourself a rather lovely plasma rifle, which you would get later on either. There's two different paths you can take. You get it on either of them, but it's best, I find, just to have it there. Makes things easier. So, first major fight. It is the Wall of Revenants and a single archvile. But the single archvile is a horrible pain because he very seldom actually gets in a position where he can see you. It's quite deceptive, this fight. It's much harder than it looks because the pillars and the layout means that you're probably going to take a rocket to the face at some point. Enemies tend to filter around, the Revenants go from left to right and get out of position in ways that make it very difficult. But that was relatively well handled. You went for the plasma rifle first because I was hoping it would cause some infighting up here, which it kind of did. The issue with clearing out this initial area is that there are spectres everywhere, and there's fireblue everywhere, and it's dark, and it's GL lighting, so I can't actually see the spectres, I mean, pretty much at all. So I found the best strategy was just to sort of run in a circle and shoot shotgun shots until it seemed relatively clear. Then it lets you clear these guys out, which is nice. Just double checking now just to see if there's any, because sometimes the spectres get stuck in various places, but there's none around. That stall sphere is the secret torch I pressed to open up there, that takes you there eventually. Here's the arena that gives you the shotgun. This is a relatively straightforward one as well. It's just a lot of shotgunners. It's hit scan city. I found it's best you stay in one place, let them bunch up on you, and kill them. Health is not important here. This is one of those things where you can do it taking almost no damage at all. If you stand still in one place, you can just get quite lucky. Or everyone can open up at you at once and, 100 health just melts off you. Like skin sloughing off. It's fine, really. But this fight, not only does it give you a green armor, which you don't need, it gives you the super shotgun, and it gives you pretty much 100 shotgun shells at all times. So it's a vital step on the path. And this is the part where the map diverges. You can go one of two ways. After one arena, you'll get a BFG, basically. So I always choose to take the path I'm about to take first because I don't need the BFG for the fight there, whereas the BFG in the later fights is a bit more useful. Doesn't matter at all, mind. So, picked up the secret there. Now heading up the old staircase. Pin situation. If that archvile doesn't flinch, you can take some damage, but that's fine. So here's the first major fight on this path. The MIDI has a very strange ringing sound in it, if you've noticed. It's like a phone ringing. So, relatively straightforward. You've got some pain elementals to cause some issues. You've got those chain gunners. They're my priority right now, above everything else. You do get this really generous vulnerability, which I never really felt the need for in any circumstance. Because really you can just get everything in fighting very easily on this map. The Cyberdemon does all the work for you because it's just a big lane. Basically, he's either going to go down one lane or down the other lane on one side of those sort of that divide or the other. And if you get him on the right side with everything else, infighting is just guaranteed. I got quite unlucky here with the pain elementals though. In an earlier version of this, which I tested, there was no blocking lines, so if the pain elementals flew off to the sides, they would just float forever into the abyss, which is one of those incredibly obnoxious Doom behaviours, where they just kind of get stuck in animation, floating backwards indefinitely till they hit a wall. Flyers, thankfully now, they don't have that issue. And I'm just cleaning up here. I'm trying to be efficient with ammo because I want to keep rockets and cells for the next 2 arenas. There's a bit with some barrels where I really want them, and that's what I was thinking of most. But it only took a couple of attempts to actually beat. I think this is my first attempt that went beyond the first 2 rooms, so I'm pretty happy with that. Nice casual playthrough. It's nice to play something that doesn't push you too hard, it just makes you feel comfortable. As you can see here, the monsters, I haven't mentioned this before, they also are fire blued up. He's got fire blue guts, the imps have fire blue blood, they have fire blue fireballs. Everything is fire blue, it's the ultimate texture. It's a thing of great beauty. It's a shame it just isn't being communicated well in this video. So, first secret I'm going to pick up now is along this path. There's a bloodfall there, there's a mega armor. And now I'm fully stacked for this next fight. In that same little cupboard there is another secret, and if you shoot that texture there, that fire blue texture which is slightly different from the others, it opens up another cavity, but it's best not to do that immediately because when you jump in the momentum's usually going to carry you straight in and you'll pick both up by accident and you sort of waste one of the health items. So jumping down the well, this is the fight for the red skull key. It's very loud. Now, there's an interesting gimmick to this fight, which isn't too well communicated, I've got to say. It's something where the first time I played it, my initial reaction was, right, time to get rid of those obnoxious snipers. Don't. Behind all of the obnoxious snipers, there are closeted cyber demons, and if you kill them, and the teleport destination is clear for them, the cyber demon will teleport in, but you don't have enough health to deal with that. But you'll notice now, I'm running around. I'm running around in circles listening. And if you listen there, you can hear one screaming. So there's a crusher that activates for each stage of the fight that starts killing one of the cyber demons. And then when you can no longer hear the stomping sound by that wall, because they usually don't hear the death sounds, you can then start firing and clear that out and then press the switch and continue the fight that way. It's quite inventive, I do like it. I just wish there was a better way of knowing about the cyber demon. Maybe if there was a translucent wall or something so you could actually see him being pushed. Just anything that helps communicate it, but then you would lose the sort of fire blue, I guess. This is the first phase here. It's pretty much the same as the first phase. It's not much different, except for now there's some demons. And the next set of crushers will be activated. But yeah, it's one of those things, you've got to make some compromises if you're going to make a map which is entirely fire blue and fire blue derivative textures. I won't lie, this map makes me incredibly motion sick if I try and play it for too long. The strobing lights and the texture set really doesn't make me feel good. I suffer from motion sickness a lot, so but it's fine, it's a bit of fun. So I can hear them still being crushed in there. Still being crushed. Still being crushed. It's quite a slow crusher. Now they're dead. We can move on. This next phase, a little bit harder, but not particularly. It's just a perpetual phase of evidence. It's interesting because you would think that one of your main worries would be enemies wanting to infight with the guys on the ledges, and then that would create an interesting dynamic of, you know, you don't want the revenants to get too infighty or to get distracted, because if they die, the cyber demon spawns in and you basically run out of ammo. That would be like, you know, the what's it called? The Mancubian Candidate? I think that's the skill saw map in Valiant that does that. You could do something clever like that. But it's fine as it is. It still works. But that arena there is very simple. Just go in a tight circle. Hope you can circle strafe. You probably can circle strafe if you're playing this game a lot. Another one died there, so I can go up to the next switch. This is one where I found that you can have the BFG in this arena at this point if you take the other path first, but I didn't want it because it's just three archviles, and I found that strangely enough, if I tried to use the BFG on them, it tended to go horribly wrong for me because I would piss off. There's another archvile on the ledge in the back corner there. It would tend to upset him, and he wouldn't focus on infighting with his friends, who usually always hit him in the back. So I found rockets is the best way of dealing with it, by far. But that's it for this little arena, basically. Trying to conserve some rockets here. No real need to use them. I'm thinking here. I'm thinking... Any more rockets? No. I'm playing very casually here, as you can see. The unfamiliarity should be apparent, that I'm taking my time and I'm thinking about things as I do them. Then I forgot there were indeed more cells there, so I didn't have to waste those 3 rocket shots. But hey, not a big deal. So, heading back out now. Remember there is the megasphere just to my right, but I'm not going to go for that yet, because at the end of each path, there's always a trio of archviles, just causing some issues. So I'm trying my best here, just trying to get rid of them. Bad rocket work there, I've got to say. As you can see, I can take damage, I've got enough health. It's best to go in and keep that entire 200 for the next phase of the map, so it's fine really. There is a megasphere actually, just on the edge of this big crescent here. There's like waterfalls heading off them. On one part there is a megasphere and you can sort of run along the battlements and get to it, but it's very awkward platforming and it doesn't count as a secret, so I never really felt the desire to do so. Me trying to figure out how on earth to get to the secret. Remembering. Picking it up, there you go. See, even the little eyes there, the evil eyes, they're fire blued up. It looks good, you know, it's surprising just how good this map looks given the gimmick. They put a lot of work into the sector lighting and all the different nice effects to make areas pop, make landmarks pop, make it so it isn't too monotonous and eye-watering. That was some very poor movement, but this is where I need to be anyway, so live and learn. So, there's switches here, there's 3 pillar switches, we need to get 3 keys for each one. First wave just spawns in these bad boys. Spectres. I can't see them at all, again, I mean, I cannot see spectres on this map to save my life, so I just take a step back where they can't get me. I find that's the safest thing to do. And here's the path to the second route here. So this arena teaches you something. Shoot a barrel, archvile comes out. There's a pillar there for cover, but that should teach you something quite important, which you're going to need for this next fight. It's a nice bit of telegraphing there. It explains how it's going to work. Oh look, barrels are emerging. Behind the barrels, there's archviles. And then imps pincer you from both sides. Now, the trick I found to this fight, because otherwise you do tend to run out of cells quite quickly. I mean, you can really waste a lot of ammo here, and I'm trying to be ammo conscious because I like to have a lot of cells for the final arena. It's just to kind of hang out here. If you get the drop on these imps, they trickle in quite slowly, and there's not that many of them. So it allows all of the other imps to filter from the other end, and that minimises the chance of one of them throwing a fireball from the side, hitting a barrel, blowing it up, or releasing an archvile. I mean, you can get a couple of accidental releases here. That's fine, you know, because, you know, you can survive with that. But it's when they're really far away, the big risk is, and the foolish mistake is to go into the middle of the arena and start spamming in both directions, because then you are going to get pincered by archviles. But just hang out at this end, you know, there's not a particular threat. It could have been a lot nastier. I mean, a good way of making it nastier would be to introduce something like Hell Knights, maybe some Revenants in the mix as well. But if you were to do that, I would strongly recommend balancing it so there's more rockets here. Because you can just, I mean, I'm very dry on rockets here, very, very dry. And this is the sort of arena where, if you have big walls of meat, the archviles will get stuck behind them, so even spamming plasma can be incredibly ammo inefficient. You need something like rockets to help sledgehammer through them. Because you're never going to come in here with anything more than your your rocket launcher, your plasma rifle. So, you know, second time around I feel this is just the best way of doing it. It's a bit lame, but, you know, I play lame now and then. Trying not to accidentally shoot more barrels, because I'm just being very, very cautious with ammo here. But it's a cool fight idea, I do like it. I like the way it's telegraphed, I really like the lighting in this hallway as well. It's somewhat interesting. I'm not really sure what I'm thinking of here. I'm thinking like, what's the best way of getting rid of these barrels? Because I'm going a shotgun, I'm cycling through weapons because I'm using the alternative HUD, because I'm a cheeky boy. Or was I using the alternative HUD here? No, I wasn't. I think I was just being stupid. I was just being stupid. I was just switching between weapons because I can't read. So, press one switch. I'm still taking my sweet time here for some godforsaken reason. I mean, in theory, I could already record this a couple times and get a really fast time and get a really sick demo, but I don't have the patience to play games anymore like that. I just want to get my win out, tick the box, move on. Little trap here with spectres. I really messed this up a lot, and I take 80 damage, which is a bit ridiculous. It's best just to push into one corner, and then when one teleports in, you can just keep shooting him, and then the other one's filtered toward you. There's a secret behind that barrel. You can see a little slit, which leads to that secret megasphere, which I'm going to save for later. This arena, interesting. You can't kill those archviles. It's kind of like the manual go fuck yourself from Sunlust. Where instead of it just spawning in waves of things and having to move around with the walls by their pace, instead you spawn in the monsters with a hand crank, you move the walls up and down with the switches as well, and you control the tempo. Which is pretty cool, but it's also kind of awkward because it's very easy to miss the switches when you're panicking or when things aren't quite going your way. And getting the timing wrong is a thing that can happen, as you saw with me there. But because I was humping the wall, it meant that I only took the direct damage, not the blast damage, so I took 20 damage, which is nice. And there's the BFG. The BFG would be available, say, in that big circular arena with the Revenants in each cardinal direction. I think you get it toward the end of that fight usually, or you get it here, depending on which path you take first. I like to get it here. So, this wave is just pinkies. Optimally what I would do is I would just go around the clock and I would just wake things up until probably this stage, clear everything out, then I would wake up the next wave and take it a bit slower. But I'm just taking my time. See, failing to press the button there, it can happen. This phase is just Barons, not Barons, Hell Knights. So I'm just taking my time, taking it patient. The longer I stay in here, the more likely it is I'm going to make a stupid mistake and get blasted, or shoot myself, but it's fine. It's one of those things, it feels fiddly. It's objectively quite minimal risk, but it's very fiddly feeling. It's there's a lot in your hands, so I get nervous in this fight. Look at the fire effect there from the Archvile as fireblu as well. It looks really cool. So moving on, here's the next phase. A couple of pain elementals. One thing you won't see in this fight is Revenants, which I thought was really interesting, because I would have thought Revenants in this kind of arrangement of cover and moving would be very cool, but no Revenants. A mercy, I suppose. An indulgence. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cleaning up the lost souls. You're probably wondering when I change direction, why don't I just start going in the opposite direction? Especially when it comes to me going in the opposite direction to get a switch, then waiting for it to reset on one side, then going back in the other direction. And it's purely because I feel more comfortable moving in the strafing clockwise to counterclockwise. And that just comes down to my aim is more comfortable, and it just, I don't know, it's like a right-left hand dominant thing. I just feel a lot safer when I can control things in that direction. So, this one here releases a Cyberdemon, who's a bit of a problem. Just a bit. But the trick there is to lure him away from the switch. Best you can. Press the button. Because now that will get rid of the horrible Archvile wave. I think at this point, when they're starting to take the pain from the crusher, I don't have to do that, but it's better to be safe. Maybe it'd be better to force a longer timer on that switch, so the player's forced to engage with the cyber demon for a bit longer, with the cat and mouse, but maybe not, maybe not. It's just... I don't know why I'm sitting here thinking of, like, how can I make this much more awkward and difficult? Because I don't like it when I play test things and then they become much more awkward and difficult. I like things to be more reasonable. I like to be challenged but comfortable these days. I don't like really hard things that make me upset. But, yeah. Just thinking out loud, really. Another trio of archviles here, the exact same structure as the second half of the map. The other sort of wing of the map. I'm not sure why the archvile who I shot with the BFG took almost no damage from him and required 4 shotgun shots to kill. I think it must have been like a collision detection thing where he was in a diagonal and we were right on the edge of the grid and the blocks and the block map, and something with Doom's funny hit detection, because it felt like I should have done at least some damage to him with those tracers. But that's the fun you get with vanilla Doom. You get some funny behaviours. Speaking of funny behaviours, here's the next switch. This releases the final arena. I have no idea why that did. It didn't do any. Didn't kill it. I don't know. So I've had some pretty bad luck with this area in the past before. The demo I recorded for the previous version, where a lot of changes were made off that feedback to make it a bit more challenging and interesting. I did the same thing. But, you know, I mean, it's fine. I would have preferred to go into the final fight with more health, but I can't. I just can't. I'm picking up a bunch of shells here. I'm not really sure why. I think I'm just a bit nervous, and I'm just thinking, well, it'd be nice to have some shotgun shells just in case. But here's the final arena. As you can see, generous health. Quite generous ammo distribution as well. I'm going to take one of the supercharges. And it's a relatively straightforward style here. So we've got all of those imps, they're going to start pushing forward. I have a lot of flyers as well around me. And peppered in those you have the pain elementals. So my strategy is to get rid of those pain elementals as soon as possible. They can't get too far away because of blocking lines, but I want them dead. I want them dead, and I will use the BFG to clear as many of these cacodemons as possible, so I can start spamming rockets efficiently, basically. Because I've got a lot of cells, but I want more cells for the final fight. I want to make sure that I'm really stacked and I don't fuck this up. So it's pretty good. It's pretty decent in terms of balance here. The sun there, made out of fireblu, is really cool as well. So as you can see, I'm taking a lot of damage purely because I'm ignoring enemies and I'm just pushing really hard to try and get those bloody pain elementals. I've still got the megasphere behind me. That's kind of like my ace there. I'm trying to keep that active for this fight because I want to use it to keep myself stacked up for the final area. So after a while, you've got the mancubi there. They come on the pillars. There's only one of those, so it's just a matter of getting rid of them. They're a bit awkward to hit with auto-aim, but it's fine. They're just in the way, basically. They just add a bit of complication to dodging. It's another vector to think about for a second. But once you kill them all, and you get rid of all the lost souls and things like that, it's pretty much a case that you can just start spamming these imps now, because there's quite a lot of them. I think there's only like 300-400 of them, and they start filtering toward you. The idea is that they're going to start pressuring you more and more and more. If the fight gets out of hand, they're going to start really pushing you around. They're guarding the resources you want, like the soul spheres. I had to make some pretty awkward dodges into them to try and pick up a soul sphere earlier on. I had to weasel my way in. But it's best to do it this way. You can push forward right at the very beginning when they're all teleporting in and wake up the second wave of enemies and do a big, hilarious, monstrous, psychotic mosh pit for the final fight, but I couldn't find a reliable way of making that work. So I thought, no, we'll play it slow and patient here. A bit low on health now, a little concerned. I don't want to get hit by anything else. I've still got the megasphere behind me, but I'm thinking, let's play it safe, let's play it safe. maybe the hold the breach here would be a bit more efficient. I don't know, maybe it's a bit too long for these imps. They never really get that close to me. I don't know. I don't really know. But it's important to have all this space for dodging, I suppose. So I'm quite happy here. I'm coming into this with 600 cells before I go into this next part. 200, 200. I've still got an emergency mega armor. Trying to get this guy in the tower. It's very hard to hit him because he's quite well protected. And here's the second part. Now, this is something where I had a lot of trouble with it because of this natural choke point by the gates. But I found the best way of doing it is run into the centre. If you start attacking, they all move toward you. It spawns some cyber demons at the far end where I initially entered the arena. And then I can do this, where I can just sort of circle strafe them. And it's really, really, really dangerous because there's a teleporting cyber demon at either side who will be spamming rockets. As you can see here, I'm trying to think about it very carefully trying to dodge it. You're probably going to get hit if you're doing this. But I mean, otherwise what you've got to do, another strategy is you can run this way when you wake everything up, take all the fireballs with you, get the cyber demons in fighting, and then push back up to this choke point just by spamming the BFG to punch a hole through them. Because all the ammo resources you're going to have are on this side. So it's a little bit awkward. But I found this a nice safe tactic, which is what I'm looking for, is just to run the circular gauntlet. You might hit a stray rocket or two, but it's fine. You're keeping that megasphere at the entrance of the gate. Trying just to get rid of these rockets here. This cyber demon is really hard to hit because he does just go everywhere. But it's fun to watch the Revenant fireballs freak out and sort of just when there's only one or two enemies left, the Revenant will just there'll be a fireball just going back and forth because it'll never be able to get to the cyber demon. It can't decide where it wants to go. But that was fine. We got that. I don't know why I'm running that direction. I'm looking for a soul sphere, realising there isn't one. Because we have one final little fight here, which this can go wrong. This can go really wrong. But it didn't go wrong this time, so we're happy. And that's, I think it's just 5 actually. 5 archviles. If you stand too far to the sides, if you get blasted, you'll be blasted off the edge. And then that's awkward because I think it's a 20 damage hurt floor to run to a teleporter to get out, and it's not good. But I'm just looking around there to make sure there's no flyers in the distance. There weren't. I've got the fireblu key. I can go put it on the final plinth. Prepare for the ultimate boss. An incredibly tough zombie man who took 3 punches. I mean, strong guy, strong guy. And with that, we can enter Shangri-La, pass through the gateway. The music cuts out. That's a nice, cool trick. Because we're dead now. We're dead. And there you have it. That's Gateway to Shangri-La. Really nice little slaughter map. Quite easy, but a lot of fun. Give it a go. Good job, Willy W, on his second map. Thank you very much. Goodbye.